I want to give this evening a different dimension by saying how can CAs take on entrepreneurship or be in business? So while we have different other professionals like IT professionals, IITians, engineers who we all know just come out of college with a great idea and start their own company, get billion-dollar valuations. What is stopping CAs from doing that? Why are CAs not getting into the entrepreneurial wave that India is seeing today? I have two very relevant and very good speakers with us today to discuss this topic. So Rajneesh Menon is the CEO in residence as well as director startups at Microsoft Ventures. As part of his role, he is credited with setting up accelerator hubs for large business groups like ISB Hyderabad and Reliance Group. He is also in a role where he mentors close to 100 odd startups and provides them mentoring and advice and technology. Considering his close association with startups, I thought he should be a very interesting speaker for this topic. We also have Nanesh Sanghvi, who has a very different distinction of being a CA, CS, and an ICWA. Despite being all that, he ventured out and started his own company, which is into recruitment. Now, how did he think of doing this? I mean, what prompted him to give away his accounting background and finance background and to do something different is what I thought we should probably hear from him on this topic. I'll leave it to the speakers to give their own views on what they feel is how CAs can take on entrepreneurship as an option and what it takes for them to be their own boss.
Sure. Thank you. Can you hear me? Okay, good. So before we enter into the topic of whether a CA should be an entrepreneur or should he pursue employment, I think it's important to understand what is entrepreneurship all about, right? I mean, I think that's a base that you need to be really clear about. Because as an entrepreneur, you need to be a person, or rather an entrepreneur is somebody who sets up a venture. You know, the simplest Wikipedia definition is that he's a person who sets up a profitable venture or a commercial venture which is trying to solve a particular problem, and he takes on a tremendous amount of risk, and the rewards for him are the profits that the enterprise will make. I mean, that's a kind of a very low-level definition that I can think about, a very simplification definition that I can think about. Now, for a chartered accountant, it's, as somebody said earlier, I think Mr. Chitle spoke about it earlier, this is a nice platform, right? The CA is a great platform because you know all about accounts, you know the various domains, especially when you're in your articleship, you have been in those 3 years, you have been exposed to various domains of your clients. So you have seen multiple scenarios. You have seen multiple scenarios, plus you also have seen and you hold the nerve centers of any business, which is the finance. Now, given that, it becomes much more easier for me to say that for a chartered accountant to be an entrepreneur is the most easiest thing. But then it goes back to your personality. It goes back to how much of risk that you can take. Do you want to take the risk? Do you have the ability to take the risk, first of all? Do you have a vision to solve some problem or to set a new process right? And do you have the patience to build your business? Because nothing happens in a matter of a month or 2 months or a year or 2 years. Sometimes it takes about 5 years. Sometimes it takes about 10 years. And are you playing the valuation game or are you playing a P&L account game? That's very important in today's world because most of us are today, if you see the startups are playing the valuation game. Now, I never advise startups to play the valuation game. So all these things have to be considered before you start thinking about whether you want to jump into entrepreneurship and set up your own business or you want to go back to employment or take a consulting role and stuff like that.
Nanesh, what is your take on this?
Yeah, I mean, what he said is right. How much risks which you want to take? Now, any entrepreneurship, my personal opinion, during about 15, 20 or rather 20 years back, chartered accountants were taking more risk. If you have seen the percentage just now about my previous speaker who says that now a chartered accountant since last 5 years, they are going more into job rather than into the practice. Previously, at least in my time, I remember 60 to 70% were choose of professions. Profession is practicing chartered accountant. Now, I personally feel entrepreneurship does not restrict it to starting a chartered accountancy firm. there are a number of successful chartered accountants, which at least I am aware about it, who were successful in other than the chartered accountant professions. There are a number of examples which I would like to quote, some of them few. Being a chartered accountant, everybody is aware about Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, a famous stockbroker. He is a chartered accountant. He has not choose for that he wanted to go do a particular. He started, definitely he thought for that my love for his stock. And he made his name, money and everything. Second, Pranab Roy, the founder of NDTV. I'm sure everybody must have heard about it. Completely different role. Then a celebrity, I would put it, there's one famous serial is going on since last about maybe few years, Tarak Mehta Ka Ulta Chashma. There's one particular character, Patrakar Popat Lal. He's a chartered accountant.
I don't think most people will know that, right?
So it's not that only a chartered accountant is restrained or he has to supposed to do a particular thing. Somehow back of the mind, even when I was doing a chartered accountancy, I perceive that end of the course, I have to go for a job or a practice, but that too restricted to only accountancy. I personally feel whatever you like, there is nothing that a chartered accountant should do this only, a particular thing in a particular way. Whatever is your liking, there's a particular movie, Three Idiot. I'm a fan of it. What the message which was been given? That you choose a profession, business, professions, practice, whatever it may be. Whatever is your liking, what you like, I'm sure whatever you choose, and if you are liking, you will definitely do a well in whatever you choose for.
Thanks. That's a great message. I'll put some questions. Chartered accountants usually, or finance professionals, mostly what they say is when you start an idea, don't put your idea on an Excel sheet. Don't try to figure out the margins. Don't try to do an over-analysis. Most of chartered accountants have the unique ability to do that even before they have completely thought through whether the idea makes sense, whether it's good for the market, that is secondary, but whether it will make a commercial sense is primary. I mean, does that inhibit chartered accountants in some way or finance professionals some way to take on entrepreneurship as an idea? I mean, how will they get out of this excelling mindset?
Yeah, you want to take that? Well, first of all, Excel is good. I work for Microsoft. Yeah, my foot at the table comes from Excel, right? So anyway, jokes apart. So speaking about Excel, it's good to have the tool, and simulate a lot of business scenarios to understand what can be going wrong, what can possibly go wrong, what can possibly be the right way to do things. It's all great. But then let me forewarn you on that. There are a lot of dynamics in the ecosystem that you can't factor in Excel. A lot of dynamics. So if you are able to understand the ecosystem in which you're able to operate in, and if you believe that you have a great solution, the first thing that you need to do is talk to prospective customers. Forget this Excel sheet and PowerPoint and all that. I hope my boss is not listening to this, but forget all these tools that are available. Those are important when you start making a presentations or something to a particular community or to a customer. But before that, take your solutions and go to a customer. Sit with that customer. Sit with your stakeholder. Now, the stakeholder can be starting with, depending upon what solution you have. If it is a B2C solution, it can be as low as somebody in your own family who can be a person who can tell you whether the solution is good or bad. So like that, go and meet as many stakeholders as you can. Go and meet as many consumers as you can, customers as you can, and validate the idea. That is most important. After you do that, then you start thinking about the sizing of the market. That is where the Excel sheets and all will become important, because then you need to have a realistic picture as to what you're going to have, what the firm is going to earn in a year, in 2 years, how much of addressable market you're able to get, and then you can simulate more and more ideas and scenarios there. And then lastly is to make the presentation and the pitch to, in case you need higher funding at what point in time and blah, blah, blah stuff. So I think there's a series over there. But please don't make a business model or a business on an Excel sheet. Go beyond that, go to the market, go to the field, talk to people. Most things I've seen is, I think today I've been attending the last 4-5 sessions, and I've been hearing only one thing, which is very important. That is for people to network. You know, for entrepreneurship, it is extremely important. You can't be an introvert. You have to be in the field. You have to go meet people. Sometimes you need to meet your own competitors to understand as to how they have done, how they set up their own business, and then possibly you want to carry on a variation on that. So please try to network a lot and be open and get out on the field.
Yeah. So I have another question for you. I mean, on a related note, we both talked about risk averseness of somebody who's coming from a finance. Now, how do you break that mold? How do you come out of this mentality where you are always a risk averse guy? I mean, what tips would you have for somebody somebody like you? I mean, how did you break out of your own area of expertise, which is accounting, and get into a recruitment? What prompted you to take that decision at that point of time?
All right, honestly, if I answer, I have never thought in my wild dream when I choose I'm a student of Signum College. Those point of time, Signum College was one of the good college. And typical from the bookish warm or whatever you say, always be in the library, never go out. And whatever people say that, yes, I have finished my chartered accountancy, cost accountancy, and company secretary. So nothing was being planned. Absolutely nothing was in plan. While studying in the library, I always look at it others. Oh my God, he's doing costing, something great in that. I must do that also. That is doing company secretary, I do that also. Believe me, I put it like other way. Passing chartered accountancy exam is easy. Very easy. It's in your hand. If you study well, definitely you're going to pass. After passing exam, what you have to do, that's a $1 million question. Practice, job, in job also, this area, that area, particular industries, accounts, tax, audit, nothing is in your hand. Difficult to plan. There again, I come to the same thing. First is your liking. What do you like? Money follow later. My previous speaker, Mr. Gurumurthy, did mention that don't run after the money. That in a particular line, nowadays I keep on hearing from a number of chartered accountants, I don't want to do accounts, I don't want to do tax. Immediately after passing chartered accountancy, I want to do only merger and acquisition, or only into investment banking. How it is possible? How can companies straight put you a chartered accountancy into investment banking or merger and acquisitions? You must have an understanding of the business, industry, everything. So my experience rather would put it like this way. Again and again, as I mentioned, whatever you like, first find out what is your liking, and then you plan out.
Thanks. Thank you. We'll take maybe one or two audience questions. Yeah. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, sir. So, in the changing business scenario these days, like being a fresh chartered accountant, what's better? Like being part of a startup and handling wider roles at a leadership position, or being part of a specific industry handling more narrower roles or a very specific role?
Is it to me? Okay. So first of all, it all goes back to the risk appetite that you can take, which I was talking about earlier when it came to entrepreneurship. When you join a startup, you have a great chance to learn multiple things on a single platform, right? I mean, you are expected to do a bunch of things. As I say, you need to roll up your sleeves and do a lot more. As you start growing there, you need to start building in some sort of a specialization in what area you want to lead within that startup. As a startup grows, because it becomes a company, it becomes an enterprise, you need to carve out what area you want to do. It's like that. If you look into a pyramidal approach, after all, any enterprise is like a pyramidal approach, right? At the base level, you can do multiple things. You're sitting in one desk and do something, and then you may probably walk around all the floors. But as you start going up, you start getting a bird's eye view of that particular startup, enterprise, company, whatever it is. So to answer your question, all depends upon what is it you want to do. I personally would feel that after you complete your CA, go and work in an enterprise for a few years to understand the way the enterprise modeling is done, that particular domain is done, what are the best practices the enterprise is following and all that. And after working for a few years, then get back to a startup mode, whereby you can use those small siloed experiences to create a bigger impact in a small organizations. It's like if you've read the book of Peter Thiel, he says, try to be a bigger fish in a small pond. I would argue that. So try to be a bigger fish in that small pond. And then once you gain a larger experience there, and once you're helping the startup to grow to an enterprise level, your market value about yourself will improve, your knowledge will improve, you as an individual would have matured far more than anybody else. So to me, that's a way to go about it.
Okay, thank you. We have time for one more question. Yes, please.
So just to, so a lot of startups are opening up right now. So mainly with all the IITians, right? So IITians preferably have an edge over technology. So tomorrow, I have an idea, I want to start a startup. So keeping apart the tech side, so how do I go about acquiring the right skill sets for me to come out with a larger venture, like growing my startup?
You want to create on the tech side itself, or you're trying to?
On the non-tech.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, the point is whether it is tech or non-tech, you need to understand what is the problem that you're trying to solve in the ecosystem, in the customer ecosystem. Do you find a problem there? Like, for example, I'll give you, there are tons and tons of ways. Today, by the way, before I say all that, today IT startups have started getting more and more PR and more valuations, at least in the PR valuation. So that's the reason why probably it's an eyeballing feature for all of you. You may not, I don't know how many of you know this, but IT startup is the only area where $1 billion means valuation, not necessarily turnover. I can give multiple cases where the top line is 37 crores and the valuation is 3,700 crores, 100 times valuation of the thing. So those kind of unrealistic numbers happen in IT. Now coming to your question, it all depends upon what kind of startup you want to do, in which area you want to do, which domain you want to do. IT is only incidental. IT is only an enabler over there to make the delivery of that services to the end customer in a much more proficient manner or efficient manner. So don't be bogged down that there are other people from IITs or somebody has an edge over you. Think about the domain. The domain is the most important thing. Because if you know the domain very well, then you can come up with the best solutions. And once you come up with the best solutions, you can easily find co-founders who are in the technology field who can partner with you and who can help you build a greater product where IT can play a bigger role than that.
Okay.
Which skill sets? I can't hear you.
Going and marketing, or getting the digital marketing or something.
Yeah, very good question. So, thankfully, when I started on this role about a few years back, we only had one or two organizations named NASSCOMs and TIE. But today, I think every nagar or every nook and corner of the city, you have one or the other incubator or a mentor or an entrepreneur who's ready to share his ideas. The point I'm trying to say is that there are multiple organizations today, especially in a city like Bombay, or at least in all the tier 1 cities, where they conduct weekly programs. Like Guru Prasad was talking about, every weekend go out and start meeting people, start talking to startups and all that. So like that, there are multiple organizations today which work on the weekend. So you can take a time off on the weekend, meet likely same-minded people over there, meet experts who have done this all in the past, and then talk to them and understand. And that's the way you start building it. You can't read it. It's not something you can read it.
Can you name one good organization where we CAs can go and?
I will not say one, but I will say many. As I told you, the easiest thing for me to tell you is that go to the TIE chapter, the nearest local chapter of TIE. Then go to the nearest local chapter of NASSCOM. They have a wonderful program called NASSCOM 10K Startup Initiative. Go and talk to the people there. Then go to the IIT incubation cell. There are wonderful mentors over there who can talk to you. So then there is NEN Foundation over here. So there are multiple people who can talk. Then there's Indian Angel Network over here. So there are multiple organizations where you can talk.
Thanks, Rajneesh. I'm sorry we have run out of time, but please SMS your query or your question to the number on the screen, and we will surely get back to you in a couple of days' time. Thank you, Nainesh. Thank you, Rajneesh, for your thoughts.
I'd like to call on stage Shravan Doshi to present the mementos. Claps are okay. I just said claps are okay.